Huwag na tayo bukas, sir. Baka nila ako na sa box eh. Isa sa lupa. Isa sa lupa. Kasi hinahanap ko yung pangalan niya. Ang pangalan niya. Yung ang pangalan niya, pangalan sa kanya. Meron sana ako doon na ano lang, naagaw lang.
Yung
Lupa ko, ako kung Rodriguez na. Nagukay, tapos na, inaagaw. May patong ng lima. Kung mo kayo yung kulot ko, as is zero. Bumaba ka, mawala. Mawala yung zero.
Magpupulat yun. Radyo mo na. Radyo mo.
Pwede mo rin radyo ko kay F1. Binet, nag-sermet, huwag mo iwan ko yung controller niya kasi wala CCTV.
CCTV yan, sir.
Wala CCTV, pustahan.
Oo.
Pustahan ako.
Ano yan?
Libre mo ako pagkain.
Ano nga yan?
Sa Manila, libre mo ako pagkain. Ano sa ngayon? Gamo ko nga. So, nadala ko, hindi ako nagamot sa'yo. Nadala yun lang yung pinupusta ko sa'yo.
Ano sa ako mo?
Ginawa ko na, nagalit niya ako kaya ano yun eh. Ba't ako nagulit yung puso? Hindi naman ako yun eh.
Ba't nga gawin kayo, bro?
Sabi ko, ba't iniwan yung cellphone ko? Sabi niya, ba't ako pagalitan mo sa sige?
Ba't kinuha niya yung charger?
Hindi. Sabi kasi nga siguro. Sabi niya, wala kinig kasi. Sabi niya, lumot ako nagalitan.
Yung tatangka sa cellphone mo.
Ha?
Yung tatangka.
Wala naman sa pita mo tayong kain. Ang sa akin lang, kung mawala, mabalik ko kasi. Kasalanan dito, dito na kasi dito ang tatawa dito ang gusto.
Pwede yung ulit ng muna ano.
I think may local set eh. But,
Bumili ka kasi ng bago para na ako.
ayun, ano naman, wala natin ako. Ano sila po nagkayal sa akin? Saka lang pag-uwi ako sa bukod para makakaya ko sa pag-uwi.
ang kulit niya ito. Hindi dito pag malapit. Yun. Yuan? Ano siya yung parang late ano?
LR to eh, LR.
Oh, tingnan mo LR.
Gutom na ako, sir.
Kaya tayo.
Bibigas ako doon eh.
Anong sila, kilo pa.
Saan yung gusto niya?
Wala. Sabi niya, sir.
Ayun na. Ayan.
Pwede po siya.
Oo. Kasi wala ko sa'yo, marami isa.
Oh, may dala ka dyan.
Ah,
Cake, meron ka ba? Cake?
ano?
Buto eh.
Oo.
Lalagay dito.
Iyak ko na siya.
Masabi.
Sis,
Mamaya ko.
sis, saan ba ako pwede magbayad? Sis, saan ba ako pwede magbayad ng...
Party.
Kung sa sasakyan.
Hindi ko alam. Ano? Bayad siya, Ilian. LBC, Ilian. Pero I'm not sure kung ano pa yung partner siya sa ano nila. Yung pakialaman dyan pre, kasi awit agad tayo dyan. Mamaya ka na talagang kumuha dyan. Kasi kayo mamaya, magulit-ulit kayo dyan. Ay, nakalimutan ko, gabi sa pizza kahapon. Kung kaya mo ako, binibigyan ko yung sa mga.
Mamaya ko.
Sino bigay sa iyo?
Dito ba?
Dito yan.
Sis, thank you. Ha?
Oo.
Satu mah,
Ay, ma'am. Sis, yung pa.
Lagyan mo lang tubig dito. Baka na isang ano.
Baho.
Hindi mo. Mabaho. Pero kahit amoy, mabaho ba? Wala na. Kung saan yung amoy yan? Yan, tayo dyan. Hindi.
ano, hindi na ginagtay. Dito malab yung ano, backpack ng ibo. So ngayon bakit hindi? Hindi ka, wala. Hindi ka tuloy. Nasaan yung gamit? Nasa baba din?
Ay, oo, magalit na ganyan. Balik-shoot kayo dyan.
Wala mo siya. Sipin naman wala.
Grabe ka naman.
Mamaya,
Busog ka na, laki ng
ang bulong tingnan mo dito may mga bawas-bawas pa dyan.
Ayaw ka na ikaw ang
Ang tabi.
Kaya doon naka-church
Hindi ka nakakasita? Ay,
Kung naka-church dito, pala naka-church dito eh.
Okay, kung ngayon makulang yan, ako ang
may tubig to. Sige, ha?
Kasi pahirapan ko siyang ang duluan mo mga ito.
Ano ka ba? Hindi mo tigas ang linis.
Mamaya.
Ay, talaga. Ano gagawin dito?
Abantayan na tayo mo.
Wala na.
Tawagan mo, sinipit, pahuli nga yung kamay niya kung bakit ibaga sa space. Baka mapansin niya ng mga pig nakita niya. Tawagan mo, sinipit. Huli yan.
Sige, sama siya yung bis. Ay, wala ka na. Wala nang...
Ron! Binihan mo ko ng ulan. Nag-chat niya ako sa'yo. Nagsabi ako sa'yo, bilhin mo ng ulan. Ayoko.
Wala kang kulang na
Wala.
traffic nga ako.
Ano rin sa'yo?
Wala. Wala mo to. Wala
Siya,
siya.
kita, pinapalo kita.
Sisibi na.
Palo ko sa'yo.
Kailan?
Wala kang bili ako ng ulan.
Wala ko.
Wala. Aray sinabi. Pag-ulan.
Wala ko. Wala ko.
Ano meron? Dala mo?
Ay, thank you.
Dala mo.
Alam mo ba? Straight ka na. Latang na nag-drogal na, no?
Dito mo ilagay niya. Dito mo ilagay niya.
Balong nga. Ano eh, suko eh.
Nagtitigay niya.
Dito mo ilagay niya.
Subo-subo niya sa akin eh.
Tapos, ayun ba?
Sabi mo sa dito.
Balik doon. Ay, andyan si Ronnie.
Ano sa
Sumay mo si Ronnie dun sa ano ka, welcome. Oo, dami yung bigyan ng yelo tsaka yung ano.
Okay, tingnan yung craft plate maliit.
Yung maliit lang.
Yung maliit.
Di ba may malaking ganyan? Yung maliit lang yung...
Pero ganun din siya kulay. Di ba simple yung kulay yun? Ganun din, pero maliit lang.
Oy.
Oh, designated. Tama na, hoy.
Ay, boss.
Diyan ka ba?
Oo. Mamaya,
Ah, tuloy ba, no? Okay.
Opo, boss. Tuloy yun.
Diyan.
Opo.
Hali na tayo, baby.
Pero Otso, boss, di ba sure kami, Otso, kasi nag-depend kami sa mga movement po, boss.
Hali na yan, baby.
Ay, ito. Ang maganda. Ay, daming tao yan.
Hali na yan, baby.
Ano meron sa...
Okay na?
Ay, araw ng ano?
Oo, pinapalo. Basta na yung file na.
Ako, Tyler, alam ko yung...
Hindi 25,000 na yun. 25. Hindi pa nila nakakolect. Kaya ito na tanong ko sa pinag nakapile siya. Alam mo yan, no? Yung, oo.
Sabi ko lang, may bigyan ko sila.
Sige. Ano meron dito, Brad?
Sa engagement po.
Sino nag-speak? Sino speaker?
Noon ko kahapon si Sam po.
Ngayon,
Hindi ko lang alam kung sino po ngayon.
nakaupo sila doon sa akin. Umuupo sila doon. Bakit may sounds pa?
Ano ko ano yun? Sa shop.
Meron naman tayo, may lights pa.
Kita kaya sa anong boss, sa ibang floor po eh. Live sa ibang floor.
Live, oo nga, naka-live na yata. Live to eh. Live niya to, no?
May content pa doon ah. Asan yung river plates?
Apat lang.
Hindi, nasa kanya, Brad.
Sa 20 kung bumili na sa stream eh.
Doon sa una.
Sabi ko,
Wala nga, doon ako una.
sabi mo, may 70 dito sa banda sabi ni S. Kasi binibig yung banda sa ano, edit mo. Ikutin mo.
Pwede na. Unahin mo yung ano.
Unahin yan.
Pero,
Para mapatog mo ano.
Inahin yan basta. Kunti kong pakalat eh.
Ganito yung ano.
Ano sabi niya, Peter? Ikaw din si Ma'am Kiss mo. Ipakita mo si Peter Plate din. Bakit yan na ko? Bakit tulungan mo muna si Pinit? Akin na yan. Akin na yun, akin na. Wala na isa. Akin na muna mga ilo. Ito ko dalawa. Dalawa. Akin na ito sa ilo pa. Akin na ito sa ilo.
Bigyan mo na. Ano bang gagawin mo sa iyo?
Ilang kilo? Ilang kilo?
Wala ka na.
Yan guys, probinsya ni Tato, may ano kami rito. Parang ganito.
Bigyan mo na.
Alam yung lagay dito lang bubuktura. Magaling-ganyan dyan eh. Parang nanduluto. Sabi mo kay Hampis ko ng yelo pa. Pabili ka tayo. Pabili kay Jeremy ko ng yelo. Huwag ka lang nila to.
Hindi. Wala ka daw. Bili ka pa ng yelo sa 7-Eleven na tututan.
Ando na yung pera kay ma'am.
Sabihin mo nga.
Sabi mo, ma'am, sabi ni Sir Rigon, parang kulang pa po yung
Para
yelo.
mabilis ang matulog mo. Ano ba?
Dami naman yan ah.
Pero sa ano?
Dami naman yan.
wala.
Ha?
Wala naman mo yan.
Ayun, tapos na, ayun, mamaya, meron.
Malamig na yan.
Grabe ka naman. Wala akong ginawa ba ito?
Ubugyan kita ubay dyan, sabay lang, kasi alam mo naman.
Pwede naman mamaya. Eh, sa Sabado, nandiyan sila sa Ryan, di ba? Mas mga delikado ang hatak sa akin ng anak namin.
Tapos na tuloy ako, dapat sinabi mo, nagkulang ako ng tao.
Mamaya, meron pa.
Tapos na nakapag ano na ako.
Grabe ka naman. Sino na naman?
Ibig!
Sino ba mamaya?
Kutsilyohin mo na.
Ha? Papahingin mo naman ito siya. Hindi pa magiging.
Hindi yan, Robertan, pero may
Subukan mo ako dito.
Sino?
Dapat nabigyan kita.
Yes, mamaya. Yung ko yung Sabado.
2 hours ang mamaya.
Ba't mamaya 2 hours? Ba't 2 hours mamaya? Ano oras mamaya? Ha?
Ano oras mo na?
Lagay ko natin.
Ano sa'yo?
Wait mo. Net, tago mo yan, net, ah. Pag binigyan ko na kayo, ano, unang 500. Wala akong alam mo, sabi ko naman yung Nibis. Wala din mo sa Nibis, hindi na
Alam mo, nag-i-start na ako. Kahapon pa.
Madam?
May permit to hanggang ngayon, yung sound system hindi makakit kasi naharap pa rin sa baba. Kanina pa sila doon. Wala pang nasiset up. 8 o'clock magsisimula.
Radyo na yun eh.
Yun na nga, niradyo.
Dapat nakarinig.
Pero kahapon, ang permit nila hanggang ngayon, ba't lagi silang hinaharang?
Kung ka lang pag-ibig mo yung sisya sa labas. Isang kasi dito.
Nga kami. Ayusin mo ng maaga, ayusin mo ng late, wala pinagbago.
Hindi lang pa niya. Wala na rin.
Hindi na rin yun.
Parang kunti ka rin.
Pabili pa tayo?
Opo. Hindi ka ganyan yung kunti ka.
More pa?
Opo, pala parang kapag.
Mga chips na po sila.
Opo, parang kunti lang po. Eh, hindi pa sarado ito. Sige lang, pag-try mo. Ang sarap. Hindi naman kasi ng fish ka. Lilo sa kamot ng chips pa. Ano yung... Ano chips, please? Ang mahirap pa nga si Rudy yung harap-harap sa mga ganyan. Saan ka ba't nagbili ng paper cups? Hindi mo lang siya ng bottle case. Sabi sa alak. Ba't ang gawin ang ano parang dirty siya dito?
Siya pala yung sumahod. Ako na, ako na magpapakalimutan. Sabi ko, nagpapabuno ako siya, hindi nag-reply. Sabi niya, sino ba sumahod? Sabi niya ako, ay, ito ba? Sorry ah.
Neighbors, hingi ka rin sa taga-concession mo. Sabi mo, nangingi si Sarino ng yung gloves. Yung plastic na gloves. Oo, pang serve. So, sabi niya, pwede daw iran kasi mamaya may serve ka. O yung pang-ipit. Yung pang-ipit, pang-serve na kayo. Ikaw, ako ka na. Ilan ba bilang picture? 1-1. 150. 150. Ang mga ano, tingnan mo rito ni, tingnan mo rito ni, yung mga ganito bilhin mo. Ito ang social niya, yung mga ganito,
Wala ba ang pangalan ni?
basta malalaki. Lace. Ilan ba? Siguro, mahal to eh. Ano plus to, siguro mga ano, 6. Tapos ilo.
Ilo, ilan ilo? Ilo? Dalawa.
Tatlo
Pwede yan,
yung
mahal masyado yun. Yung katulad ng iba lang.
Oo, yung di example ko na po, madam.
Basta huwag ganun brand. Sobrang
Huwag itong ano, anin. Mga 6, madam. Okay na po yung madam.
Sige, pabili nilang ulit tayo pagpunan.
Sige, yung pagkasyon na yan.
Yellow niya.
Hindi yung resibo na yun. Tapos yung yellow, mga 3 siguro. Para mapabilis malamig niya eh.
May isa pa tayong lamesa na.
Ganyan, ma'am.
Oo.
Wala na po.
Ano na lang meron?
May maliit tayo, madam. Yung nasa pante yung bilog ng kulay pula. Maliit lang yun.
Sige, lagyan natin dito sa gilid.
Kunin mo dun sa stage mo, may ano doon ka.
Tapos parang, lagay nyo yan sa gilid. Doon. So, hindi mo siya. Tapos parang,
Tapos naka-facial.
Oo, hindi ka naman yan ngayon. Bukas ulit yung ako.
Ilan ba? Dalawa?
Tapos yung black. Yung best, sino na yung best?
ano to?
Yung best,
Bakit may pulang chair doon?
Shadow yung pula siya.
Iyan,
Palabas na yan. Tapos, Houston, patanong naman yung guard, nasaan na yung sound system? Ano nang nangyayari?
Ipa is
Tapos pahanap si Dan.
Yung
Ipa yung pinapala ng Manchester regarding sa sound system. Madam, ano, ongoing daw pinapasign yung dito sa admins. Bakit na daw po sila,
Oo,
madam?
Diyos ko po. Diyos ko po. Ang event is 8 AM, hindi 8 PM.
tingin.
Okay lang naman dito to.
Ano to? So, okay lang yan dyan. Pero kung maglakad-lakad sila dyan,
Hindi ba ano?
yun yung question. Hindi ba yan?
So, doon na lang ulit. Gusto niya.
Oh, or rinig ba yan? Or baka
Rinig po
kasi
siya.
sobrang lalis niya.
Kasi ang problema po doon, hindi kita yung masyado.
Sino?
Sa tatakpan kahapon.
Hindi rin sila kita. Ang layo nila masyado ng dalawang speaker. Okay lang na ang ma-televise natin sila. Huwag na natin isama yung audience.
Sige po.
Di ba mother? Ayun. Kasi parang anong news? So pag magulo to, distracted yung nanonood sa ibang course.
Babaan na lang sa course ko. Padala lang sa kata. Padala ko sa yung iba pag-uwi.
Sino?
Tapos pangit daw doon. Hindi kita yung presentation.
Cellphone. Yeah.
Wala naman tayo masyadong ipapresent.
Ano lang po ngayon?
As in talk lang. Tapos mga nag-flash lang. Sabi naman kay Fran USD, yung table dito.
Pangiting na.
So pag ganyan siya.
Dito po ang ano setup.
Yeah, okay lang yan. Kasi ayun naman si host eh, tapos nandito dalawang speaker lang. So,
Dito na lang siguro po tayo magpalagay ng table.
Kuya, ganyan table.
Ayun na po.
Oo.
Dito lang.
Sorry na. Kasi nung nakita nila parang anong use ng audience. So kung makulit yung audience,
Wala rin.
distracted din sila.
Teka lang po yung table.
Ano yung paakyat? Yung paakyat nila na saan? Paakyat sa 3 months. O paakyat sa Sorsogon. Sa Baguio.
Ako na.
Wala tayong table?
Mali.
Sa Hadal Room, ang daming mababang table.
Wait, please.
Marvin, pag dumating si Dan, bigyan ko siya niyan. Pag umakyat yung speaking sound system, bigyan ko yan, eating and video added sa folder. Ang dapat ko, susundin ko yung speaking sa mga. Dapat ko.
Nasaan yung nagko-control dito? Mangingin kasi sana ng scotch tape eh. Yung puti, yung parang masking tape. I-tape ko na lang to dito, mukhang okay naman to dito eh.
Sabi ito siya, okay na to.
Hindi, mukhang wag na. Sige, ready mo lang dyan, titignan ko. Oh, sige, sige. Okay na. Dali mo na rito. Dito mo itabi. Tabi mo dito. Para hindi naman sayang yung pagod mo. Yan, tabi mo dyan. Yan. Yan, wala lagay yung laptop. Singin mo ang tape. Masking tape. Yung ano, yung puti.
Ay, brown din. Brown din siya eh. Brown plain lang.
Hindi plain. Di ba may puti tayo? Yung parang ganyan na yun, naka-tape na ganyan. Ito, meron nga sa flash yung dala. Wag na. Hindi. Yan na nga. Double-sided ba yan? Mamalaglag. Sige, pahingin na rin ako. Hindi, maiksi lang muna. Ito. Wala nga tape. Ito rin mo to, sir.
Feeling ko
Hindi,
dapat,
patuloy
sir,
mo, patuloy mo.
yung pa-round natin. Feeling ko bibigay siya.
Bibigay nga siya. Kaya nangyay ako ng tape talaga na ano.
Meron kayong tape? Oo. Bigyan siya. Ay, Ma'am Shigayo. Ma'am Shigayo.
O, diba?
Tapos pa ikaw din. Putol yung ulo mo. Putol yung ulo mo.
Grabe, ang lakas dumikit eh.
Super delay.
Nakita.
Ano mo yan? Kakaway ka.
Ay, dito.
Ang ganda mo pala sa camera.
Oo, pero sa personal. Grabe.
Pangit ba? Putol? Ano ba yung mga host? Nakaupo, nakatayo?
Nakaupo. For example ako. Okay na?
Okay na ba yung ganyan? Pag tumayo, okay din naman eh. Huwag lang masyadong malapit sa camera.
Pag lumapit sa camera, pag dito.
Kailan mo anong mangyayari sa kanya? Magpo-fold din siya.
Kaya natin na ano. Yung nauna.
At least dito siya makaano.
Pag ganyan, pag dito siya tumayo, kasi kahapon dito yung tumayo yung ano yun. Pag dito, kita din.
Hindi kasi pwedeng nakatingala eh. Kita yung ceiling na yung nakikita.
Mas maganda ka dito siya.
Kanina na. Dito lang naman yun, bababa mo lang to. Yan na yun eh. Tape na lang yun, tape ko. Dadating ba yung tape mo?
Si Service Crew.
Ito ba kayo mga sa ano, nandun sa 14, sa number.
Tawa na.
Pinipitan. Okay na ba yung ganyan? Dito sa likod. Okay, siguro yan. Okay na, no? Yan na lang. Dito nga, sir. Piling. Okay naman, kita. Kung hindi nakita dyan, dapat kita pa rin dyan.
Check na lang natin yung
Nakasupre yata yung address ko. Yan. Okay na kaya yan. Kasi hindi kita ng kanya.
Kailangan naman ng tatlo na.
Gamitin nila kaya ako para mabilis. Rolling box. Para ba akong yun dyan? Ayusin na ako dito yan eh. O. Hindi yan ko dyan, Lloyd.
Ako si akin ang tinigiran.
Alin mo sa switch, Alam mo na kay Jerome.
Daw dyan? Guess ako ikaw kami. Yung guess ay kami. Guess internet.
Video switcher.
Hindi, kailangan may username nasa desktop.
Video switcher.
May makikita ka niyang guess internet sa desktop. Naka-text tayo. Ano pa? May tama na. Ayan. Tapos, ito-text ko sa iyo yung papalitan mo. Di ba alam mo naman yung papalitan ng na letter? Ito-text ko sa iyo kung ano yung mga papalitan na. Wala ka ba speaker dyan? Walang speaker. Ay, wala din yata kasala fourth floor. Sorry. Wala bang nakaset up dyan na projector? Pasabihan na lang sabihan ko na lang si F5. Padala ko na F5 dyan. Sige, set up mo na yan. Alam ko hindi nakasali yan. Pasabihan ko na lang. Sige. Tapos dyan ka na muna standby sige. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Ayan, dito ba sa akin kayo?
Okay, magulang ka lang sir. Ano yung
Hindi sir, yun lang lang. Yun ko lang sir.
naka-pick na kasi. Baka maibig pa.
Wala naman nadaan dyan yun sir.
Saka wala lahat ng laban mo kung doon.
Asa na yung battery doon? Battery.
Wala namang battery.
Battery guys, yan. Baka mo ito dyan lang yung hindi sa ano ko.
Ayun? Ano to?
Direct na lang tayo. Wala dapat to. Kakapusin tayo.
Ikaw lang mga anak mo.
Hinarap mo naman kayo. Di ba nang away na naman ako? Nang nanghaharang sa inyo. Sakto na ba to? Makikita na ba itong tao? Dahil I'm so sorry kasi sinundo ko yung speaker sa baba. I'm so sorry. But I know you still love me. Professional host na, go! Akyat! Pero ito naman ang gulit tayo na ako.
Ganda.
Hindi, sarap ba lang. Ayaw mo ba? Ayaw mo tulungan ka niya?
Sabi mo, hindi na ganun din. Wala akong ano. Deloy. Sabi mo, hindi na ganun din wala.
Hindi mo hindi na naalis ha.
Bigyan ko yun na sa USB. Nakasaksak pa yun yung tanong.
Mag-watch ba yung sa visual? Ay, sabi, nakawas na ba yun? Oo.
Yung ba nung nalaman na pagbukas, wala naman sa ilaw.
Yan ang sarap. Wala na po.
Ayan na.
Good. Ano? Di ba naman yung isa? Wala.
Sino ba?
Ikaw mo.
Ikaw?
Tayo naman.
Hindi.
Oo, hindi ma'am, ako yun ma'am sa laptop.
Ito ang dapat.
Sa laptop ma'am.
Wala naman kami yan.
Wala na lang. Hindi sa hindi mo kaya pa.
Hindi yung gagawin ko pa.
Ay, wait. Paano?
Wala pa, dami yung naisip.
May audio to.
Yung kanya.
Hindi pa din sa inyo. Yun lang. Kasi video lang naman yan. Wala namang ikaw control na.
Ito na lang.
Wala namang ikaw control na. Uy, later, I just like the first.
Ano? Sa kanila.
Ako lang. Ako lang.
Right. Oh, ay hindi. Bumaba na. Oo. Matagal sa elevator.
Ayun lang din.
Okay na nabuksan ko na yung ano. Yung Red Bull. Kanina ayaw eh. Oo. Eh, configuration. I-inayos ko ng manual. Pero okay na siya ngayon. Oo, binanong ano ko. Itong ano, Mac. Umano siya eh. Doon ko na ayaw kasi ano siya. Tawag dito, hindi siya naka-HDMI. Ito ang problema. Ayusin ko muna ito. Kung si Mark yung ayos. Ako dala rin dyan.
Sa kanila boy. Ang play sa kanila. Sa USB. Pwede ka ako, boy. Boy. Pwede ka ako. Ano, boy?
Pag nagtama ng question yan. I don't know.
Ganda pa kaya ako yung mic. Then mic pa tayo. Hindi pa rin
Wala. Paki. Dito na ako para makinig. Alam ko ano.
Ano yan?
This is the manifesto of Mother Mainstream.
Kuha tayo ng mga bako.
On board, a government-owned alien property in space, a birth of magnificent and magical proportions took place. But the birth was not finite, it was infinite. As the womb slowed, and the mitosis of the future began. It was perceived that this endless world of life was not done well.
Doon natin lagi pumilang.
And thus began the beginning of the
Eh, sana mahaba rin, di ba?
Parang dito.
a race which bears
Hindi mo pumilang natin.
no doubt but boundless joy. But on that same day, as the eternal mother of the multiverse, another more terrifying birth took place. The birth of
Mali
Eve.
tapon po.
Ha?
Mali tapon po. Isa dyan tapos sa kabila pa.
And as she herself split into two, rotating her coordinates from two ultimate forces, the pendulum of chance began its dance. It seems easy in religion to gravitate instantly and inevitably
Pang-main daw. Pang-main. Tatlo. Yung isa mo yung isa. Tatlo dito. Wala nang baba.
Ay, may isa for question and answer.
Nakabalik ka si Jay. Wala ko. Yun lang yung sinabi.
Hi everyone, good morning. Okay, I think we can muster a little bit more energy than that for this morning. How's everybody doing? Ayan, mas convincing yung great na yun, right? And we are definitely going to have a great morning today. I love the fact that there are a number of us women and also our gentlemen, right, in the room, ready for us to have this women empowerment talk. But just to begin with, right, I'd like to understand what are some of the reasons that you guys are here? What do you want to know today? What are the things that you want to find out? Anyone? Nagkayayaan lang ba ito? Yung hindi ka pa inaantok? Tara, punta tayo. Ganyan ba? Anyone? Maybe share with us, what's the motivation? What was the question that you had in your mind for wanting to join us this morning? Guys, bear with me. Dahan-dahan ang mga movement natin ganyan. Okay, anyone? Sige na, let's not be shy. It is a morning for women, for empowered women in our organization. So, what do you guys think? What do you want to find out today? Milan, because you're here and you're smiling at me with your beautiful smile. Can I ask you?
Because I think gender has always been a taboo in the Philippines, and I think we're in a generation now where really women empowerment has become a social issue and a focus in the country. So I want to know more about what our speakers will be sharing today on how they were able to step up to really show the society that they're women with power. Yes.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you for that, Milan, right? I think that a lot of us would have this, a set of similar questions, right? What is it that we can learn from our speakers today that would really, give us that extra push, maybe, right? That gives us that extra feeling of, I can do this too, right? And I think that we want to step out of this room with that feeling today. Tama ba? Right? In fact, instead of it just being an issue, I'd even say that it's an imperative, right? That we find out more about how we can further empower ourselves, right? So, without further ado, one of the things that we really want to do is learn from empowered women. And who better to start and open our session for today than one of the epitome, right, of women empowerment in our organization, none other than our Director for Strategic Business Operations, Ms. Maan Seville. Let's please give her a round of applause. Good morning and happy Women's Month, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all for being here today. As you have been made aware from yesterday's I Am Engaged launch, MSSC is committed to pursuing diversity and inclusion as one of our key engagement drivers here in our organization. Women empowerment is one of the focus areas through the Women in Workplace Associate Resource Group. You're familiar with that, right? Yes. Okay. As a society, we've come a long way. From being denied of right to suffrage to having powerful women in politics today, such as Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, Theresa May, the Prime Minister of the UK, and even us having 2 female presidents here in our country. Here in NSSC, 54% of our total population is female, and 46% of our leaders are female. Did you know that? So, there's quite a lot of us, not just leading teams, but actually generating billions of dollars for our organization. So we should be proud of that, okay? We owe it to our foremothers and forefathers who have paved the way for us to reach this point. However, the journey towards equality still continues. Social media is abuzz with few key issues that sparks the Me Too movement and discussions around gender parity and wage gap. Today, we are taking a bold step to continue similar discussions here in the office to empower women and help them out to rise and succeed in whatever role they choose to be. I would like to highlight, though, that women empowerment is not a call to discriminate other genders. The enemy of women empowerment is not another gender, it is an incorrect mindset that may be present in all genders, including our own, right? Because sometimes it is us that tells ourselves, that's all you can get to, right? That's all you can do. I strongly believe that there's enough opportunity in the world for all of us, women, men, LGBTQI alike, even artificial intelligence. So rather, this is a call to tirelessly climb out of that the only things women can do box, that external voices and our inner voice put us in, and inspire other women to do the same. This is a call to fully claim and embrace all the wonders that the Lord has placed in this world that are equally available to all other genders. I'm sure our two speakers for today can't wait to share with you how they did exactly this in their own areas of success. I hope that we make the most out of this event by not only paying attention, but also by taking notes of what can be shared to your peers and your family members. So thank you and enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you very much for that really awesome opening speech, Ms. Maan. And if I could just underline, and this is going to be a theme for today, and I hope that you guys do the same thing, right? You really pick up some notes from the people that we're going to be hearing from today. I love that line, that the enemy is not another gender, but it's an incorrect mindset, because I think that translates really across, right? Regardless of whether we're talking about gender equity or if it's anything, pretty much, right? I think that applies. And the only real limitations are the ones that we really put around ourselves. So without further ado, and so as to not limit us for this morning with everything that we can learn from our speakers, allow me now to introduce the first of our two speakers for this morning. Now, have you guys ever heard of One Earth Organics? It's actually a set of products that has already been featured in a number of publications and even on TV. And we actually have the founder and CEO of One Earth Organics joining us today. She is also a multi-awarded, fast-growing and successful brand in the Philippines when it comes to beauty products. Their organic line includes bath soaps, family wash, makeup, and slimming tea. She is our 34-year-old proud single mother. Please let us give a round of applause to Miss Tiff Short. And let's go ahead and step on stage. I'm so nervous. 35, by the way. Well, doesn't look it any. Thank you. All right. Now, other than Tish, we are also going to be joined by another one of our visitors, who is the brand integration strategist of CNN Philippines. Some of her clients include Padron, Ginebra San Miguel, BDO, and Bench. She is also the co-founder and social media manager of A to Z Creatives, a boutique social media creative agency. She served as assistant managing editor for creative solutions for Preview Magazine, Preview.ph, Cosmopolitan Philippines, and Town & Country Philippines. Freelance, commercial writer, copywriter, and public relations writer and consultant. And again, let us please give a round of applause for Ms. Chica Villarta. Please join us on stage. All right. Well, now that we have both of our guest speakers in front, so the way that we want to do this is really just like your typical morning talk show. Yeah? And this is our live audience, okay? So we're going to give the floor first to Tiff. Let's let her share her story. Let's learn from her story, after which Chica's going to go ahead and share her story. And then we're going to definitely want to hear from all of you about the comments, questions that you guys have about any of the stories, or maybe even sharing your own that relates to theirs. All right? Sounds good? Yeah? All right. Then let me go ahead and give the stage to Tiff.
Good morning, everyone. I'm nervous. And I just want to say, forgive me if later on I'm going to shed tears and cry. I always cry when I talk about my story. So Is there tissue here?
Yes, we definitely purchased some tissues, and it's gonna be around.
I need like 10 boxes. So, hey everyone, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Are you even on graveyard shift?
Doesn't look like
Doesn't
it,
look
right?
like it,
So
right?
fresh.
So yeah, I am again Tiffany Short, and I founded One Earth Organics. For some of you who don't know, it's an organic and natural brand that's being sold in beauty bar. Something I'm plugging. Oh my gosh. Thank you. So yeah, so we have bath soaps and well, okay, I'm a single mom. I have a 17-year-old son. And it's his birthday in 2 weeks, April 3rd. He actually whispered a little prayer for me before I came up here. I always stop him every time I do features or interviews. I always tell him, "Love, I'm gonna be guested on this. I'm gonna do this," and he's like, "You can do it, mom. Like, I'll pray for you." So, anyways, yeah. So I'm a single mom, and 5, 6 years ago, I used to work at the also BPO industry. I was an executive assistant. I was an employee and doing graveyard shift, just like you. I would always wonder. I have friends who they have their own business, and I would always tell myself, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And that was 5, 6 years ago. So, and my son was, already growing fast, and I really want to give a brighter future for him since I've been a single mom for 17 years. Nothing against the biological father of my son. So but it was really, more of my choice because I'm a strong, independent woman like that. So yeah, and then so while I was working as an executive assistant, I saw an opportunity for me to resell another brand. It was a chemical-based brand, and Instagram then was new. So I thought, maybe I could use this platform, maybe I could resell this product. So I started using it, started reselling the product, and but later on, since it's chemical based, it was really doing more harm on my skin than good. And I'm one of the many women who's guilty of not reading ingredients and label, especially before. And we would go like, it smells good, or this is endorsed by a celebrity, or it's a branded bath product, or and
Or just because maybe it's available and it's the one that's handy.
yeah, so I'm one of those women until I was using this chemical-based beauty product, and I noticed my skin was becoming thinner to the touch. I was having burning sensation, just a little exposure to, under the sun. And so I got alarmed and I started doing my research. I did my research, every ingredient in that product. That was 2012. And it gave me an idea. And back then in the US, organic and natural products are still, booming, was growing. So I had an idea that maybe I could come up with something also here in the Philippines, and ingredients that would be, that would give same benefits or even better results, but it'll be plant-based or fruit extracts. So I went, did more of my research, and that time I only had 37,500 pesos in my bank account, and I was going to use that for as down payment for my son's tuition fee. I told myself, okay, bahala na. God and the universe will not give me this opportunity if this is not meant for me. So if this business will not succeed, then my son won't be able to go to school, that's school year, and he'll have to repeat or whatever. And I talked to my boss, and I said, I need to resign because I cannot serve two masters at the same time, and I want to focus on, on this opportunity. I was having a hard time making that decision because my job as an executive assistant was paying for everything. Our house, my car, my son's, everyday needs, everything. If I'm gonna be practical, then I will choose my job. But I told myself, and I kept asking for signs, and I said, but I have to take the risk. There's something about this that, this is for me. And I just believed. I really just believed. I remember I was talking to one of my friends, and this will not be given to me, and if it's not for me. So I resigned. I teamed up with one of my closest friends. So she helped me because, by the way, I don't have a degree. I am also an undergraduate. I did not even finish fourth year high school because I got pregnant and I gave birth. Since I'm a single mom, I didn't have a choice but to work for my son. And we're not rich, my mom or my parents are not well off, so I had to really do all the work, everything. So I came up with one of my best friends. She owns a facility. Back then she was doing also beauty products, but those derma products. So I told her, hey, I have an idea. This is what I want. This is the ingredients that I want. Would you mind helping me with the supplies, and maybe you could be partners. So she did. Until now, I can say she's one of my best friends, and she's been one of my pillars. And so I'm all so thankful. And I just kept, and the rest was history. I launched the first, my first product was the underarm set. We're famous for that. So I did that, launched 50 sets, and posted it on Instagram. And I told myself, okay, I don't care whether my friends are gonna laugh at me. I'm gonna do a kili or underarm selfie. And 2012, 2013, underarm, it's a very sensitive topic. You will not even admit you have underarm problems. Whether it's sweat, odor, discoloration, never. That was 6 years ago, I remember. It was hard, I was in bazaars and people will not even, will be shy to look at your products because it's underarm problems. And so I had that confidence and posted my first underarm selfie. And my ex-boyfriend and they're his friends, my ex-boyfriend, and his friends were, giving me a hard time, doing a spoof or whatever of my post because it's underarm. And I'm like, I don't care, this is for my son. So I did that, and the rest was history, and I kept going, and that's basically it. And it's actually now the three main reasons why I pursued and took the risk of having this business was really number one for my son. I always say this: it's for my son to give him a bright future, whatever he needs. Everything, and even my business partners, all the clients, I always say, anything or everything to do about my business, the brand, it's all for my son. It's you see, I'm gonna cry. Every time I talk about my son, because my goal now is, it's the business and my son and the business. If I'm not a single mom, if I don't have a son, I won't be here. I won't even be here talking about, or I won't be given this opportunity to share my story. So everything about my brand, the company, it's all about my son. Oh, by the way, I told you this earlier. This is a funny story. So my son, knowing that, one of our bestsellers, the underarm set, yesterday I was on my way to a meeting, he messaged me, Mom, I have two classmates who want to order the underarm set. And he said, and I said, what? For girls? And he said, yes. And I said, how did they know? And then he said, I don't know, Mom, but they came up to me, showed a picture of the product, and said they want to order the underarm set, the 1,440 pesos. And I was so embarrassed for him because, it's kilikili. So, and then, so I was just laughing. He even asked, are we going to give discount? And then they just said, come on, just give it to them. Just tell them to pay next time. Because I want to take their money from your classmates. Oh my God. But it was one of the funny stories that, that I encountered every day with my son. And yeah, and then, okay, so the second reason is to really address my insecurities. I have so many insecurities. And all the products in our skincare line, it blossomed, or it's mainly because of my insecurities. So yeah, I had a big insecurity in my underarm. That's why I came up with that product. And there's one point in my life where I couldn't even raise my hand. So embarrassed. I had discoloration in my underarm. and then the third one is I really want, one of my goals would always be to inspire and empower more women. Like, I love doing this, and I always believe that when you share your story, you give someone hope. You give them, you inspire them, and you actually save someone's life, because you'll never know who's going through something. And I'm always open. I love sharing my story. If this is a way to encourage more people, like if I can do it, and find your passion, or just always take a risk and do whatever you want to do. Not really whatever you want to do, but so be inspired, and yeah, that's it. I'm so nervous. I'm sorry.
Not at all. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Deb, for sharing your quick story with us. And I'm sure that we're going to have a lot of follow-up questions from our audience. The problem with having a hormonal host is that I started crying before you even got those pieces, those parts of your story. But I'm really interested because part of what you shared with us really depicts the story of a self-made woman, right? And you often hear a lot of the same, and men would really have a lot of gusto talking about how they have built their own careers, independently. And here you are, and I love the fact that it's coming from a very humble place. That you weren't really bragging when you were talking to us about the challenges of how you started out and the insecurities. And so, really, the first thing is thank you so much for sharing that authentic story with all of us, right? And I'm sure that we picked a lot from that. Yeah, yeah. All right, and you guys think of some of the questions that you want to ask, right? Because we're gonna allot some time later on for a lot of those questions. I'm happy to see that we have more men visiting us in this particular session. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us, right? A great opportunity to learn how better we can show our appreciation for women, right? For the women in our lives. So, just a quick, clarification, I suppose. So you did say that, throughout this whole journey of building your business, again, coming from the fact that you didn't graduate from high school, you didn't have, so who do you imagine would be like the strongest influencers, other than, of course, the inspiration that your son gave you?
Strongest influencers. There's really no one in particular, but what I always do is I surround myself with people who genuinely motivate me, whom I know who genuinely care for me. those people who believe in me. Because that's so important. Even if, I believe in myself, but if I don't have those people, like those motivators, those people who encourage me and just continue to believe in me, then I won't make it. I won't be here. So it's really more of the people around me. I just learned from them, my mom. Actually, I have two moms. So,
Interesting.
yeah, I have a second mom. So my biological mom and a second mom. And well, my business partners. Yeah. And those just the people around me. I don't have anyone in particular. So but just like really the people around me.
And then that's very interesting because just this morning I turned the page of the Coffee Bean banner, no plugging intended. But at the bottom of the page it says that you are the average of the 5 people that you interact with daily. And I think the tip that we see now is kind of like that combination of who you decided to be as who you are, and also all of the positive influences of everybody around you. So that's really awesome. And I wonder, in the same way that you have surrounded yourself with a lot of those positive influencers, in the life of your son, being that he's already a teenager, did you also consciously try to provide him with the same set of people who can influence him, other than you, of course?
Yes, so thank you for saying that. To be honest, probably 2, 3 years ago, my son was clinically diagnosed with depression. So it has something to do with family. Family had a really, really bad family background. My ex-husband, anyway. So yeah, thank
So
God.
bring out the tissue.
Yeah, no, thank God I've been single for more than 3 years. So, but yeah, so it came to a point wherein I was, while growing the business, I was having internal problems, family problems with my ex-husband. And of course, there would always be, you can't balance everything as much as you want to. There would always be one that would suffer or be sacrificed. And at that point, yeah, it's hard to admit, but kind of the sacrifice was I was not able to give that enough attention to my son. It came to a point where he wasn't even leaving his room. So I was like focused on growing the business, and I was having problems with my ex-husband because he was a meth addict. So I'm sorry, I'm just so open like this. But just so you know how the environment before. So he was a very abusive, very, very abusive, physically, emotionally, mentally. So at that point, I was doing everything, but he didn't realize, that part wherein with my son, it was really slipping away. And then it came to a point where, thank God, my ex-husband was taken out of my life. I put him to rehab, and I don't know where he is right now. So he actually spent all my savings, God, and then he escaped after 8 months. Anyway, so, and then, but yeah, that's right. So I laugh about it now. I tell you, I love sharing my story because at one point, I'm sure any women can relate. I'm sure you had a toxic relationship or bad relationship or anything. I really hope you won't have the relationship I had. I swear, I slept with Satan. I'm not kidding. No, but I wish him well. I wish my ex well. I wish him well, God.
That was a very good turn. I softened Satan, but I wish him well.
I wish him well. I always wish and pray that he'll be in love. So whatever. Anyway, so yeah, it was really hard, and when he was finally out of our lives, that's when I realized, in a way, my son was reaching out to me. In a way, it was a cry for help that I have to do something, and put out a good, environment for him, because it was a really, really dark environment. I brought him to the doctor. It was so hard. I think the first month where I was giving the antidepressant meds to my son was so hard. Like I can actually read the label from the meds. It was so hard. And I had to move him to a new school. And I thought the new school, and then he didn't go to school for 1 to 2 months. So I had to bring him to the psychologist, psychiatrist, and thank God the new school. I rallied everyone, my moms, friends, my best friends, the whole school, new classmates, and I told him what's happening, what he went through. So finally, after almost 2 months, he was out of medicine, and we were able to put up a very positive environment, and I was able to be that mom, I was able to focus on him, his needs. I was able to be finally again the good influencer for him, putting up a really happy, positive environment. So now he's a happy kid, very he socializes, goes out, and I
Forwards the orders of his
classmates.
classmates.
Yeah. But so I'm so happy. So it's been great for him, and I try to even if he doesn't have a father figure, I always ask him that he would have a conversation that'd be like melodramatic and message him, Facebook Messenger, like, no, you're happy, you're complete, you're okay, even if you don't have a dad, right? And he's like, yes, mom, I'm complete. So it's a sweet kid. So yeah, that's about it.
All right. Thank you so much again, Kim, for answering those questions. And later on, we'll hear more about your story and hear some of the questions coming from our audience, right? But at this point, kung nasa TV tayo talaga, guys, mag-commercial break muna tayo, no? Pero bilang wala, yan, gusto mo mag-commercial. Okay. So, bilang wala tayong commercial talaga, let's go ahead and now hear from. And I'm stalling a little bit. There we go. All right, let's now hear from another one of our speakers for today. Chica, it's your turn to share with us your thoughts and your ideas. Thank you so much.
Okay, hi, good morning to everyone. Okay, so I actually prepared something for you, just to guide you. Okay, so you'll know more about what I do as I discuss. So in my line of work, actually, the term buzzword gets thrown a lot. So I'm sure all of you know what buzzwords are. So I worked in media ever since my career started. So I'm 27. So I started at 21. And right now I'm a branded content strategist. So now I work in CNN Philippines. I used to work in Preview Magazine. Actually, that's really where I used to work. So Preview and CNN Philippines. And then I'm a branded content strategist, meaning if there's a brand or a certain advertiser that wants to create sponsored articles or sponsored videos, sponsored pages in the magazine or in the website or on TV, we think of concepts for them. But at the same time, I also write editorially, so I'm an editorial writer as well for CNN Philippines and for Preview Magazine. And on good days, I'm also a fashion stylist. On good days. Okay. So the years that I spent, so basically all my life I've been talking to an audience. Of course, not like this, but through the words that I say. Whenever there's a buzzword that comes up, if ever we don't invent it, we try to keep up with it. So buzzword. So what is the buzzword for today, diba? What is it that we are discussing today? It's women empowerment. And it's a buzzword that's not only trending, or it's not a hot topic anymore. The term women empowerment, it's always been there, di ba? Di ba we've heard it since before? Since we were young, we've heard what women empowerment is, but it seems like it's just now that it's inspired action out of people. So I don't know if what experiences with women empowerment, or how has the women empowerment movement touched you in the past year, but I'm sure there have been instances. Like, for example, in 2017, you might have heard of the hashtag #MeToo movement. So, has anyone ever shared their MeToo experience online? Okay, so it's good that maybe here there's no one, or maybe you're just shy. But I do also have a lot of friends that I didn't expect had Me Too experiences, but then they had. So what is Me Too? Again, it's a hashtag that allowed women to express the various forms of inequality that they experience, particularly in the realm of sexual abuse. So whether it's a coworker, or maybe it's someone in the train, or it's someone they encountered or they dated, it seems like so many women pala had that experience. And for the first time, they weren't afraid to share it online, diba? And even if its main venue was the United States, if you're very in tune with social media, I'm sure you've heard of the Women's March. So actually, the Women's March, it's very political in nature. It's really mainly targeted towards the government in the United States. But at the same time, it became a platform for women to publicly express, or to publicly protest the inequality that they get, whether it's in the workplace, it's bias when it comes to salary or pay, body shaming, makeup shaming, mga ganyan. That was where they expressed their feelings. So women empowerment is really not a buzzword anymore. It's become bigger than it once was. And this year, the theme for the International Women's Month, which we are celebrating this month, is hashtag Press for Progress. So it's a call to action, diba? It's not just a theme, it's a call to action. Hey, woman, press for progress. If before, or if last year, we just expressed our stories, nagsabihan tayo ng mga kwento natin, how we're oppressed as women. This year, the theme for International Women's Month is to really push women to take these stories to create changes in the way that people act, think of, and treat women. So, because of the viral power of social media, the influence of online personalities, and the coverage that the movement has been getting on TV and in print, it really just means that women empowerment becomes effective if it's communicated loudly, strongly, and effectively. So effective siya kapag everyone is talking about it, and if the way that you talk about it through your own way is effective, is powerful, and when everyone gets to hear you out. And sometimes it's not even in the way that it's not even in what you say. It's not even by saying women empowerment. Sometimes it's in the way you say it. After all, it's about getting the message across. You can have such a great idea, but then if the way that you say it is not correct, or it's not well, then you don't get the message across. And I'm sure every single woman here wants to push for women empowerment, and even the men in the audience who care about the women in their lives also wants to push for women empowerment. So, as a person in media, I would like to share some things that I learned in my work, in my career as a part of as a media person, on how you could further the cause of women empowerment in your own way. Okay. So communication as a tool for women empowerment. .powerpoint. Okay. So next. Okay, so first is to maximize your platform. So us in media, everyone has a platform, diba? So either that's print, that's digital. Some are good at events. That's also a platform. Everyone is an expert in that. Some writers have their own columns. I, for example, I don't have a column, but I do contribute regularly to Freebie Magazine. And in everything that we write or communicate, we want to make sure that the material is hard-hitting as possible. As a media person, you want, kayo rin, as an audience, gusto nyo yung binabasa nyo, may kagat, may tama sa puso, di ba? But a platform is actually not only limited to people like me, to people in the media. Nowadays, because of social media, everyone has a platform. So look around you, your social groups. What is your place in your social groups? Your social media pages, these are your own platforms. These are ways that you can spread women empowerment. And next one, please. So you're a woman, sorry, please press. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So ask yourself, what is your role in your circle? Diba? Are you the mother of the group? Are you the leader of the group? Are you a listener? Are you the type to give advice? Try to think of what your role is in the circle and try to use this in order to spread the word of women empowerment. Second, how do you use social media? Remember, the women empowerment movement started because of these hashtags, because people kept sharing their stories of how they were abused or how they experienced unequal treatment, not to shame other people, but to let other women know that, hey, I experienced it as well. You're not alone. So it's use your social media in order to spread women empowerment. Third, it's about the content you consume. So as much as possible, don't limit yourself to only these types of influencers. Try to read off more about the cause and consume your content wisely that you know more about women empowerment. And finally, we all have celebrities that we love, and we see the way that they endorse brands, diba? Sobrang feel na feel nila, diba, when they endorse brands. Whenever you feel the need to spread women empowerment, act as if you're a brand ambassador of that cause. And I tell you, you will be able to influence a lot of people or a lot of women around you. Okay. So this is a great example of a woman using her platform in order to spread the word. So I don't know if you know them, but this is Jericho Rosales and his wife Kim Jones. So Kim Jones is actually she started out in the Philippines as a model, a blogger. She started out as a model and a host, but then she really naging successful siya by becoming an international fashion blogger. So imagine she's an international fashion blogger, but then when I interviewed, so this is the February 2018 cover of Freebie Magazine, and I was fortunate enough to interview husband and wife for the cover story. So this is the cover story. So it was basically a dialogue between me, Jericho, and Kim. And what I loved about the conversation was Kim and Jericho, you know what? They barely talked about fashion. What they talked about was how they're both still empowered as man and woman individually, even within marriage, especially when a lot of people were commenting on Kim's Instagram na bakit di ka pa nabubuntis? Bakit, tagal-tagal niyo na mag-asawa ni Jericho, ba't di ka pa nabubuntis? And you know what? She's the cover of a fashion magazine. She should just be talking about fashion if you think about it. But she used her platform to spread women empowerment even further. So these are excerpts from the interview. So Kim said, I think if anything, I have become a better woman, a stronger woman, and a better person because of our marriage. And I think that women should be able to focus on their individual dreams, their own trajectory, regardless of who they are married to. So this is another story, but basically Kim was saying that marriage shouldn't stop you from shining. You know, marriage shouldn't stop you from being empowered as a woman. Her next quote was, Having this marriage doesn't mean I'm settling down or becoming an old maid. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means I have a strong foothold. And finally, she also said, because we were talking about the topic of not having, of people pressuring her to have children. I know people who just don't want to have children, sabi niya. She also said na I know people who want to have children but who can't. We're not saying either or. We're saying let us be. Let us figure it out on our own and let us make the decision when the time is right. So these are just inspiring things that I heard from Kim that really inspired me. And I hope it inspires you as well to use your platform, just not because you're not an advocate for women empowerment. You don't work for a feminist movement. It doesn't mean that you can't spread the word of women empowerment. Share it, share your own stories like Kim did. Yeah. And I'm happy also that publications such as Preview na Fashion Magazine already use their platforms to forward women empowerment. Okay. Next is constantly edit yourself. So us in the media, of course, we are at a constant pursuit to get the message across perfectly, whether that's a typo, whether it's using the correct words, or whether it's conveying the right phrases to spread our message. But sometimes we don't know that there are things that we say or there are things as women they're done to us na hindi natin napapansin, it curtails women empowerment. So before that pala, let me give you a background lang. In the Philippines, we're actually lucky because we are one of the most gender equal countries in the world. So according to the World Economic Forum, in 2016, we were number 7. But it dropped actually. We dropped 3 steps. So in the World Economic Forum report on gender inequality, right now we're at number 10. So I think Iceland is number 1. The North, Iceland, Finland, those are number 1. We're number 10. So actually, good job. Compared to the United States or compared to say maybe Middle Eastern countries, we're lucky that these problems aren't really so bad. But there are still a lot of things to work on. For example, these are 3 ways in which the way that people communicate to us and the way that we communicate actually curtails women empowerment. First is mansplaining. Has anyone heard of this? Okay, so mansplaining is basically it's the combination of man and explaining. So I don't know if any one of you has experienced this in your homes or wherever, that whenever a man talks to you, he explains it in a dumbed down way. He explains it in a dumbed down manner because you're a girl. And this phenomenon actually happens. Mansplaining is actually a thing. So that's one thing that as women I want you to watch out for. Make sure that when men talk to you, you are talked to as equals. They don't dumb down their speech just because they think that you won't understand it. Second, up talking. So this is something that women are actually guilty of. So what is up talking? I am actually also guilty of this sometimes. So up talking is when you speak like this, and then maybe like you start your sentences flat, and then you end your sentences like this, so that you sound kind of unsure of what you're saying. So that's up talking. So so sometimes women have the tendency to up talk so that they seem not confrontational. Sometimes women they shift the tone of their voice to sound unsure at the end of their speech so that the men don't feel intimidated by them. So if you're guilty of this, don't do that to yourself. You as a woman have the right to assert your ideas properly, to assert what you have to say without having to get afraid that men will be scared or men will be intimidated by what you're saying. So avoid up talking. Next, using sexist phrases. This is something that's really ingrained when it comes to Filipinos. What are these terms? Para kang babae. Para kang babae mag-drive. Diba? Para kang babae mag-park. Diba? Kababae mong tao is another thing. These are the things that you should not use or that you should start weaning out of your vocabulary. Ang babae mo mag-park, what does that mean? Mahina mag-park? Diba? Or kababae mong tao, what does that mean? Why is it that when men do, do certain things that have no finesse, it's okay. But when women do it, you say kababae mong tao. Diba? Make sure that you're conscious of your words. Constantly edit yourself. At the same time, and I didn't include it here, it's also the idea of shaming. So people shame a lot. Body shaming, makeup shaming. What you have to understand is that the whole concept of women empowerment is women helping other women. Always remember that. Women empowerment is about women helping other women. So if you shame women, what does shame mean? You kind of, you bash women, you're a hater, you become a hater of a certain woman because of how she looks, because she likes putting on so much makeup, or because she doesn't want to put on makeup, or because of how her body looks, or what clothes she wears. That's not actually, that's not working towards women empowerment. Women should always empower and help other women. Now, of course, if you have a dress code in the office and you see someone not following, then that's a different story. But it's all about allowing women to boldly take control of the choices that they make. So you constantly edit yourself. Okay, next. Educate your audience. Now, a lot of people, okay, so right now, uso talaga yung call-out culture. So what does call-out culture mean? On Facebook, if someone does something wrong, patay ka na kasi upload na yan sa social media. So it's actually a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because it's a check and balance for people, but at the same time, sometimes call-out culture is so it's so aggressive that it fails to make a point. Instead of educating the person who did something wrong, you just end up bashing them. But that's not the point. As a media person, whenever I make a script, whenever I make an article, or actually not just me, everyone, we always say, what will be beneficial to our readers? If you watch something on TV, ayaw mo naman na wala kang matututunan, di ba? It's the same. Whenever you push women empowerment, always think of educating the people that you talk to. So for example, don't shame people for not being as woke as you. So what's the term woke? It's actually, I think it's a millennial term that means aware of issues. Or woke, from the very word, it means you're wide awake, you know the issue at hand. So other people, because they see that other people aren't as aware, socially aware, or as woke as them, they shame these people. They just call out people for being wrong, period. No, the cause for women empowerment, it's a continual cause. Nag-start pa lang mag-build up yung momentum ng women empowerment. So if you have a chance, educate people who do not know what they are saying or who have the wrong idea towards women. So for example, what I was telling you, like mansplaining. If someone mansplains to you, you can call them out by saying, hey, that's wrong. But at the same time, always aim to educate. Next, listen and tell stories of women. This is so important. The women's movement became successful because every one of us said, shucks, na-experience din pala nila yung na-experience ko as a woman. All of us pala as women experience the same thing. So don't be afraid or don't be tired of listening and telling the stories of women. Because women empowerment is a movement, it's not a club. So people think, oh, because I'm so empowered as a woman, there's a secret password and no one else can get in. No, recruit as many people as possible into the cause. So an example of listening and telling stories of women is this one. So this actually is an artist. It's an artwork of an artist named Sarah Heneblazo. And this particular painting is called Sorrow. So actually, Sarah's story is quite sad. She's an artist. I think her paintings cost quite a lot now, but she lived in a community, and then wherein she was abused. So she was abused within the community and inside her home. So she won't say, she didn't really divulge to me like what exact abuse she got, but basically her paintings are all women outdoors. So if we look at this, it's a girl outdoors. And then it's her way of saying na parang I, as a woman who was oppressed inside my home, finally is seeking escape on the outdoors. And so what we did in preview, because we wanted to tell the stories of women and their problems, we took Sarah Heneblazo's paintings and turned them into artwork for our page. And this article of mine was called Into the Light. And actually, it's not my story. It's not my words. It's the words of 3 women who suffered from mental illness and mental depression. And for me, this is one of the amazing ways in which the women's empowerment movement has started to make women braver. Before, you will never hear women talking about how depressed they are. You will never hear women talk to a fashion magazine about how they're bipolar or how they sought the help of a psychiatrist, because women are supposed to be, the center of the household. Women are supposed to be the stable one, the one who guides their children. But then you have these 3 women. So one is Erica Paredes. She's the daughter of a famous musician, and she used to be a makeup artist, and she's now a chef. She has been suffering from bipolar disorder since she was a teenager. Another is Regina Del Monte. She's a former beauty editor, and she also suffered from clinical depression. And several other women who shared their cause. So don't be afraid to listen and to tell stories to each other. And finally, with a culture that thrives in pitting women against each other, create a culture that uplifts women. Now, has anyone seen this clip or this music video? This is just a screenshot, but it's the Bad Blood music video. And people were like, girl power, right? Because it's a girl squad. But in the video, they were actually battling another girl, another woman. And they were actually bringing in the song, if you know, is actually there to, if they say that it was written to pit this singer against another woman that she had bad blood with. And that's exactly what we don't want to do. Pop culture has always made women pit us against each other. What are examples of it in local media? Mistress films, right? You have women who, a guy cheats on his wife with another woman, but who fights in the movie? It's the 2 women. It's not 2 women fighting the husband, when in fact that should happen because it's the man who started it all or something. But no, it's always the man who's in the middle, and then it's always the women who pit it out against each other. And pop culture has kind of thrived with that kind of idea. And the best thing that you can do is actually go against that. So how, as a regular woman, can you change the mindset of people? So at CNN Philippines, actually last week, to celebrate Women's Month, we had our very own Women's Summit. So it's like this. It's also like a forum on different women. So we featured, for example, CNN International host Christy Lustau. Here are some women in media. So it's filmmaker Sam Lee, fashion designer Mitch Dulce, fashion photographer Shaina Magdayo to talk about the role of media in lifting, in promoting women empowerment. And here you have Pinky Webb, who is our senior correspondent, with Lynn Pinugo and Isa Calzado. You can attend forums like this. So I'm so glad that you guys are here because this is a step towards furthering the cause of women empowerment. In a culture that tells us, fight against each other, backbite, gossip against each other. It's attending forums and seminars and talks like this that help you realize that, hey, we should band together as women. An example is our Women's Summit. Lynn and Isa Calzado have their own forum, which is called She Talks Asia. So you can follow them on Instagram at She Talks Asia. Wherein they also talk about different women's issues. Like for example, they have body empowerment. They have body empowerment seminars. There's also Girl Talk by Niche Dulce. There are so many women's forums online that you can join that brings women together instead of pitting them apart. What's another? This is just a suggestion as well that I got from the Talk of the Women in Media. A lot of teleseries, a lot of movies are there to pit women against each other. Maybe it doesn't hurt to write your TV stations or maybe even magazines if you see, and write to them about and tell them, hey, why are you doing this? Or it's good to write to them and to tell them to explore themes that uplift women rather than pit them against each other. So I would like to just end by calling out, or rather a shout out to the powerful women in my life. So in CNN Philippines, actually the top 3 women, the top 3 people in the office or in the structure are actually women. So our president is Army Harin Bennett. She worked in CNN International in Atlanta for 12 years, and now she's the president of CNN Philippines. Our chief correspondent is not a man, but a woman. It's Pia Ontiveros. And our senior correspondent, right after our chief correspondent, is Pinky Webb, who is also a woman. And below are the bosses that I have been fortunate enough to have in my life. So from Una, who was my trainee, who was my boss when I was a trainee at the European Chamber of Commerce in Singapore when I was 20 years old. Rowana Kapake, who is the managing editor of Preview Magazine, and Amanda Cruz, who is the creative head of CNN Philippines. Why am I showing this? Because I want to end by saying, in as much as you forward your own advocacy of women empowerment, find women around you, like I have found them in my life, that are examples of women empowerment too. Find women within your circle, within your office, who you look up to as women and who you are sure will bring you up instead of bring you down. Surround yourself with women like these. And for sure, the women empowerment movement will move faster, swifter, and in a better way. So that's it. Happy International Women's Month.
So, thank you so much, Chica. That was a very, very informative. I wish I had my Ingram Micro notebook with me because I had so many notes from the things that you've shared and the things that you've shown us. And really, I have like a couple of questions top of mind. But before I do that, for everybody who's already in our audience, if you're, so you may already have noted some of the questions that you want to ask our speakers, but at the same time, if you're feeling shy, you can go to slido.com and use the hashtag #IamEveryWoman2018 to leave your question. Our team of engagers will definitely share the questions with us so that we can ask our speakers. So think of those questions now. I just have a really top of mind a couple of questions, or at the very least just the one. Because one of the things that, and feel free to answer for both of you. So one of the things that I have come to realize and was a struggle as I was growing up is that at least in my immediate environment, it was very patriarchal. Very, very patriarchal. I couldn't even cut my hair when I was younger because my father had to decide like how long my hair has to be because that is what a girl should look like. And so I grew up in an environment like that. And when I finally got to college, it was the point when to hell with it. Yeah. So, but even as and I went to I'd say a very progressive university. But even within the university, you would find so many evidences of, this lack of acceptance and lack of awareness. I like that term, woke, right? The absence of that state of being woke to the situation, right? And the challenge is not everybody is really like, they are very innocent to the idea that they are already saying things that are already bringing girls and women down without realizing that it's already happening, right? So I don't know, what are your immediate thoughts around, how do you respond to that? Like, do you go all out Amazona? Or like, is there an approach that would maybe communicate that better? Because I think that, we've already seen subtle ways of doing it. And subtlety doesn't seem to work all the time. But also, when you got to the point when, the up talking, right? It's also something that's very, very common, right? So, where is it? Where is the balance where you go, I'm asserting myself as a woman, but at the same time, like, don't get scared. I'm still here to work with you. Something to that effect.
I don't think that there's one. Imagine that it took hundreds of years before a women's march actually happened. Before women were actually unafraid to talk about how they were sexually abused online. I think I'll go back na lang to, so it's there's really not one hard and fast way because I wish there was, and then everything would be okay. But I think I'll go back to number one again, to the call out culture. Call people out. If they say something wrong, call people out, but do it in a constructive manner. If you have to do it in a if you have to do it it depends on the person. If he's an aggressive person whom you know will not listen, if the animal has a subtlety, call him out properly. Engage with your HR, for example, or talk to them one-on-one. Ako personally, whenever sometimes I still hear that, like whenever I just joke and I say, oy, women empowerment, uso ngayon, bakit mo sinasabi yan, or whatever. So, there are ways to do it. So, take advantage of call-out culture, but make it constructive. And at the same time, I think that if we all do our part in, changing the system from the grassroots. Like for example, avoiding phrases like para kang babae. Maybe we in our age won't benefit from it fully, but maybe the generations after will.
Right, I love that because I have a 7-year-old daughter. So part of that whole question is really coming from, and that's why what you were sharing earlier really resonates with me because of that idea that you have to do something now so that when it's their turn, it becomes like that much easier, that much better. So thank you, I love that. All right, so I think it is at this point that we can go around our audience and gather questions from you guys. Oh, okay. Okay. Let's go through a couple of questions first. And again, feel free to answer either Tiff or Chika. Okay. Specifically for Tiff, what's the most difficult challenge that you faced in building your business?
That's a very good question. So my business now is already around five years. The hardest part would always be to sustain it. So when you start a business, you come up with an idea and then you execute. And once you execute, the business will grow. And then you have growth pains. It'll expand. And then most challenging was, this is true, this happened to me last year. So we were, being in Beauty Bar, by the way, since we're a homegrown brand, and I'm very proud to say that we were able, together with my team, my business partners, we were able to establish a brand, you know, that not just the heck of it selling beauty products. It's a brand wherein, you know, it's more of, we're not even focused on whitening, no. It's just evening out your skin tone to be more confident, to boost the confidence, and, you know, just to not just exist, but really live your life in empowering women. So last year when we got into Beauty Bar, and I'm so grateful because it's not easy to get into Beauty Bar. Beauty Bar is one of the prime or premium beauty chains in our country, and they only sell mostly imported beauty products, beauty brands. We're only three homegrown brands in Beauty Bar. And so One Earth Organics is one of the local or homegrown brands. We were first placed in Beauty Bar 10 stores first. I was like, okay, thank you. We were given a quota. In 3 months, if we're not going to reach a quota, then we're going to be taken out of the shelves. In less than a month, we were able to reach a quota. We were sold out. And after a month, Beauty Bar said, because people were looking for One Earth Organics in all Beauty Bar stores, Beauty Bar finally said, okay, we have to put you in all Beauty Bar stores. So we're now in all 19, 20 Beauty Bar stores. I was left in a, because we're expanding, and I've never known in a bank. So I would just always, whatever I save, I'd always use that and to, you know, use it to expand or grow the business. Last year, imagine, I have a company. I looked at my tax book. I only had 10,000 or maybe no, 5,000 or 10,000 pesos left in my bank account. I used it to buy raw materials, everything. And of course, it's internal problem. Nobody knows that, not even my partners. It came to a point wherein, oh my gosh, what will I do? There's a lot of temptation to really give up. You know, just give up, what the hell. But I've come a long way. And I guess one of the really, the words that I live by for the whole time I'm putting up or growing this business, never give up. This word's too much temptation to just give up. 10,000 pesos. We're already in Beauty Bar. I have a company. So I was like, oh my God, what will I do? And then I just believed and continued to believe, and I said to myself, you know what? I have to do something about this. And then after weeks, I didn't even worry about it. We're able to, you know, after putting everything, we're placed in Beauty Bar. After a few weeks, the funds started coming in. Because of course people are, you know, kept buying. And then we were, opportunities started coming in, more exposure, more write-ups, and these are all organic and free. And also one from Preview, I got a write-up from Preview. Grateful. So one of the most challenging, I'd say, is sustaining the company. Because it's really blood, sweat, and tears. I'm actually not ashamed of that story. I even put it out on my social media, you know, because if you're gonna base it on social media, you're gonna look at me, you think by this time I won't even have that problem. But I did, and I was able to overcome it. And now, for me, I always tell myself, whatever happens, you know, basta mapasweldo ko yung mga tao, my staff. And thank God, every struggle, every hardship, not a day that I was not able to, you know, give salary to the staff. They're my bloodline. I love them so much. So, you know, as they always say, you take care of your employees, your clients, and the business will take care of itself. So So sustaining the business is one of the hardest. And now I can say, way past that challenge, and I know I'll be ready for more challenges. But it's been a good year for us. It's been a good year. So I'm so grateful, so grateful. Thank you.
All right, thank you. A round of applause for Tess. Thank you very much for sharing that. And if we could just underline really that whole idea of just pushing through the challenges. And thank you as well for highlighting something that I think our organization also believes in. The idea that it is the team, the associates, the staff, in your words, that matters the most, right? And I think that's the reason why we are also part of this kind of event right now, why we have the whole I Am Engaged program to begin with, right? Part of the comment that I have here is we just want to say that we appreciate your honesty and your confidence. All right, thank you very much, Tiff. Now a question for Chica, right? What does it? Sorry, biglang seryoso please, kasi parang seryoso nung tanong. Okay, so what does it mean to empower women within a context where there are traditional cultural rules and norms that dictate the values and the rights of women? There you go.
Okay. What are traditions and cultures? So, by definition, traditions and cultures become traditions and cultures because they are practices that are repeatedly done, repeatedly applied, and repeatedly practiced over time. That's how something becomes a tradition. So, for example, if every Christmas you have Jollibee, chicken, or whatever, or if you have whatever, every Christmas you do a certain thing, like for example, you have hot chocolate at 12 midnight. If you do it repeatedly over time, it becomes a tradition and it becomes a culture. Now, how do you move forward women empowerment with a very oppressing tradition and culture? Simple. Create new traditions and cultures. And how do you do it? By repeatedly practicing women empowerment in everything that you do. And eventually it will become a culture in itself.
Love it. Thank you very much for that. A round of applause for Chica for that answer. I think that's something that's really interesting because in 2016 there was also a similar movement in the organization, but it was really more talking about like our corporate values and our corporate culture. And I think that now we're ready because we have redefined that and we've reaffirmed ourselves of what our culture is as an organization. I think it's a really great time to start expanding that and really looking at diversity and equality within the organization. So thank you so much for highlighting that. All right, do we have other questions or maybe comments from our audience that we weren't able to capture through Slido? Anything? Yes, go ahead, Milan.
It's for both of you. Have you had any experience or have you witnessed any issue on gender inequality involving women in your workplace? And in your own little way, what did you do to maybe step up and educate the people involved or your community?
So, whomever would like to share their experiences first.
Gender inequality. Gosh, in my workplace,
Or
now,
in your industry.
industry, I will not allow that. No way. I guess I'm lucky enough that the environment that my team and I are being able to, put in the workplace. So far, I haven't experienced that. And so far, I try to make it a point that since, of course, I'm a very empowered woman, alpha female, strong, independent woman who sometimes misses someone. I'm not kidding. I just want to say that. No, but thank God, I'm so grateful. Never experienced that. Even in my past workplace. So yeah.
Actually, when they approached me to do this, I was quite scared because I was like, oh my god, how do we talk about women empowerment? But I work in a fashion magazine, so everyone is either a girl or loves, I mean, or is actually gay, or maybe they also identify as female. So yun. So yeah, I'm lucky to not have had specific instances, but if you want, it's not a workplace setting. For example, in the workplace, we've always empowered each other as women. But for example, in my work, I also go out a lot. I also go out a lot, go to bars and go to different events. And sometimes I have people telling me, not from my workplace, other friends or whatever. Sometimes people tell me, hey, you know what? If you're at a function or a social function and you want to attract a guy or you want a guy to like you, pretend like you don't know things. Magtanga-tangahan ka ng konti. Sabi sa akin. So, like for example, if a guy approaches you, parang, like, kunwari,
You're fascinated with what they're saying.
you're so fascinated, or parang, I'm an investment banker. Kunwari sabihin ka. Parang ako, di alam ko ano yung investment banker. But then, parang, apparently, what you should do is, oh, really? What's that? Oh, yeah! Diba? Or like, if you're gonna open, like, if you have a bottle of, can you open? I can! And I'm like, I will never do that. Because, diba? Because like, I'm the type of person, naman, that if I don't know something, either I'll challenge you, parang, okay, can you explain that to me? Or if I don't know something, while you're talking about it, I'm Googling it already. So yun. So that's one example of inequality that I've experienced. When people tell me that I have to dumb myself down for this.
Thank you so much, and thank you both for answering that question. Any more from our audience? Sige.
This is for Miss Chica. So, what motivated you to explore various types of career opportunities? Because you work for Beauty Magazine and then CNN Philippines, and at the same time, a fashion stylist.
Okay, I'll just tell you the story of how I got into review, because it always warms my heart to tell people na I got into my dream job for my first job, and I'm very fortunate for that to happen. So what happened was, I was working in Singapore as a trainee. So okay, I finished in Ateneo in European Studies, walang kinalaman sa writing or fashion or whatever. I finished European Studies. So I went to Singapore to get to be a trainee, like an intern in the European Chamber of Commerce. So I was working in events and marketing. Essentially, all you have to know about European Chamber of Commerce is it's a group of companies a group of European companies who meet together to network in Singapore and forward their causes to the Singaporean government. So that's what it was. So it had nothing to do with fashion. Now that traineeship ended, and I got offered a job in Singapore as a proofreader for car manuals. Na parang ako, I was like, okay, this is my chance to go to Singapore to get a job. But then I was so idealistic. I didn't want to proofread car manuals. For my first job, I really wanted to get into fashion. So sabi ko, sige, uwi na lang ako to rest because I couldn't find a job. My visa was expiring. So I got a job. I went back home to the Philippines. Sabi ko, sige, I'll work in the Philippines. Siguro mga 2 months. Tapos magre-resign na ako para lang makaipon ako enough money to go back to Singapore and stay there for a long time. So I saw an opening in Summit Media. That's where Preview Magazine is. So Summit Media had an opening for events and marketing executive. And diba, I was doing events and marketing in Singapore. So sabi ko, okay, sige, apply ako dito kasi yun naman yung alam ko eh. So I applied. Now, on the day of my interview, You know how when you get into job interviews, you go to the company website to study the company, diba? You go to the, you will study first para alam mo yung sasagot mo during the interview. So I was in the website of Summit. Then I was parang searching, and then I saw that they had an opening in preview. Back when I was looking at the classifieds 2 weeks ago, there was no opening for preview. All they had was events and marketing. Tapos biglang nakita ko may opening, preview editorial assistant. Sabi ko, teka lang. Parang ayoko na mag-events and marketing, gusto ko na mag-preview. So I went to my interview, supposedly for events and marketing. And then the HR person came to me and he was like, okay, you're here interviewing for the events and marketing position, right? And I go, no, I want to be preview editorial assistant. And then so they were like, but your resume, you applied for events and marketing, not preview. And I'm like, well, I changed my mind. I want to do preview editorial assistant. So instead of like my interview being 20 minutes, the people in the HR, they spent an hour handing my resume out. They pinagpapasa pa sa kanila. They didn't know what to do with my resume. Like, so, in short, they had no choice but to interview me for the preview position because I explicitly said that I wanted to. So yeah, it's the same with this. Just don't give up and just fight for it. If you want something, just fight for it.
Thank you so much for that. And that question, of course, coming from Josh, who is actually our student associate. She's an intern presently, and she's on her way to building her career, which I appreciate is where that question is coming from. So, other questions from our audience? Shine na tayo, guys. Anyone else? Any other questions on Slido by any chance? Nah? Alright, well, I guess at this point, if we don't have any more questions, I think it's a great opportunity to maybe ask both of you to share maybe a closing thought for, something that you'd like us to walk away from this session, really thinking of and really reflecting on. So, whichever Jeff or Shika who would like to start.
I think if there's anything that I want everyone to take away, and this is gonna be a learning that it's hard sometimes, even I find it hard, but the whole women empowerment movement is about women empowering other women. So that's it. Empower the women around you, the people beside you, the people that you work with in your own way, and I promise you will see a change with the way that you're treated by society as a whole. So yun lang. It's about women empowering women. Obviously, if you empower each other to bring someone else down or for evil means, then obviously you know already that that's wrong. But if it's about being self-confident, no matter how you look, if it's about going for your dreams, if it's about standing up to an oppressive man or an oppressive person, you just find your own ways to empower other women. So you have women empower women, women supporting women.
Thank you so much for that.
So for me, well, it's more on adding to what she said. It's more sharing your story. It's also a great way to empower more women. Don't be embarrassed. Like what I said earlier, you'll never know who you'll inspire or empower by sharing your story, because any woman will, or whoever, or anyone will be able to relate to any story that you share. And yeah, always believe in yourself. It goes a long way. There will be people who will try to bring you down. You will hit rock bottom. I've experienced that so many times. But just continue to believe in yourself. And I know I may sound crazy, but out of all the struggles, I've learned to really not focus on the problems, and I've learned to just be really positive, like not even worry, and just believe and surround yourself with great people who will genuinely support you and love you. People who, if you feel like there's people who are negative, who threatens your peace of mind, please stay away from them. I'm not kidding. It will not do you any good. At this point in our lives, we would, at the end of the day, we would only have ourselves. So empower yourselves, and please always support other women. When you support other women, you'd have more blessings and live a grateful life. Always, always, always be grateful. Because wherever you do, you will not make it if it's also not with the help and support of the people around you or other women. So thank you, and it's an honor to be here and to share my story.
Again, we'd like to thank Tim and Chica for not just for sharing your stories, but for answering our questions, for enlightening us further about what it means to be an empowered woman in your own lives and in your own careers. I think two words that we're taking away today, we wanna underline, apart from first believing in ourselves and the power that we have as women, right? But the other thing is really the support that we can give each other, right? Just the fact that we don't backtalk against each other, or just the fact that we express genuine support and appreciation for one another, I think that already goes a really, really, really long way. So at this point, we'd like to thank another round of applause, please, for our speakers. And we want to thank all of you for making the time to participate in our I Am Engaged program for today, specifically targeting diversity and inclusion. And at this point, Shamrek, we will not be able to end this program without a groupie. So if we can kindly invite everybody, let us please join our guest speakers in front so that we can take a groupie. Let's fill the stage, given that we are all classified as strong, independent women anyway. All right, and then maybe some of us can stay in front. Yeah.
One, two, sit back. One, two, next back. Sit back. Sabi nila eh. One, two, one more. One, two. One, two. Tsaka video po.
Boomerang.
All right, that's it for this morning. Again, we'd like to thank everybody for participating in our I Am Engaged session. I am every woman for this morning. Thank you, Shika, and thank you so much, Tiff. Thank you so much, Ruslan, for opening our session for today and gracing our event. We have, a little bit of pika-pika at the back, so please let's help ourselves to that treat. And let's walk away from this room and from this session with thoughts of being every woman and being that strong, independent believer, right? And supporter for one another. That's it for us today, guys. Thank you so much. My name is Dan from your talent development team. Have a good morning.
Magtataka ka. Parang wala kang trabaho.
Maybe the boomerang ang was very
Oh, which phone? The one that you did. I didn't see